All right, artists, we're gonna go ahead and grab some clay today. You didn't think I'd let you get away this year without doing some clay, did ya? All right, go ahead, get some clay or some dough in your hands. Make sure that you squeeze it around. We want to try and make it as soft as possible because we're eventually gonna be rolling into coils. So remember that our coils kind of look like really long, thin snakes or kind of like spaghetti noodles, perhaps. Now you can actually roll a coil in between your two hands, or you can put it flat on a table and use your palms to roll against it. So we, again, want to take our slab of clay and we want to put it into a coil, so we need for it to become a long, thin piece. Now you want to make it about the size, about the width perhaps of your finger. Definitely don't want to go too small as well as not too big. Once we have a nice long coil, we're gonna go ahead and take part of that coil and create a circle. So you're gonna take one edge and turn it into a circle so that it touches part of your coil. Okay, so this is gonna become the base of our beehive. So we are actually going to create coil pots that are beehives. We're gonna be talking a lot about bees over these next few weeks. So once you have your circle base that you have created with your first coil, we're going to talk about how you're going to build your beehive on top of that. Now, I'm going to be showing you here, because again, when we work with clay here in school, we have to use something called slip and score to attach one part of our clay to another piece of clay. So I'm going to be using a toothbrush and some water. If you're working at home with whatever type of clay or dough you have, you may not need to be doing this kind of step, but I'm here to show you our best practices with clay. So what I'm going to be doing with my coils is I'm going to go and take my coil and wrap it on top of the first coil that I made, that base, right? So it's going to go directly on top. And we're going to wrap this around on top, directly on top. I'm going to say it one more time, on top of our coils for about 4 or 5 rounds. Now you can see here that after about 4 rounds, I ran out of my coils. That's okay. Go ahead, grab some more clay, grab some more dough, whatever you have, roll out some more coils. Again, 4 or 5 times. That's how we're going to create the base, okay, of our beehive. And eventually, we're going to talk about how you're going to close your beehive. Once you have your next coil, what we're going to go ahead and do is, instead of building on top, we're going to start to go a little bit on the inside. So you're going to notice here that, again, as I'm slipping and scoring and I'm going round and round with my coils, I am taking my coil and overlapping it so it slightly goes, instead of directly on top, a little bit in towards the center. Now notice how the top circle of my beehive is going to be getting smaller and smaller and smaller, because instead of going on top, when I'm going a little bit in towards the center, I'm closing that circle. So again, keep going round and round with your coils, but work to close the circle by having your coil go on the inside. Oh my goodness, and try not to get any dog hair in your clay. As you can see, I'm struggling with here. Whoopsies! Hey, that's what happens when we make art, right? Now, once you get up to the top and you're just about to close that circle, you can go ahead and just pinch your fingers to take off the rest of your clay or dough, and you can sort of overlap that little top piece, maybe leave a little bit circle, or go ahead and just fill it in with the rest of that little tip of your clay. All right, we have successfully done our beehive. So now go ahead, roll out another coil. I'm going to show you here how you can continue to use coils to create bees for our beehive. Once you have a coil, you can go ahead and use something to break them up into smaller pieces. I have a palette knife here that we use within our art room, but you could use something even just like a toothpick. Okay, so go ahead and cut that little coil into smaller bits. I'm going to show you how you can take 2 coils about the same size, or cut coils rather, and turn them into a bee. So I'm going to first come onto one of the little coils and I'm going to press both sides of my thumb down. You're going to see that it creates sort of 2 circular shapes, right? Now that's going to be the wings of our bee. So now what I can do is I can go ahead and take the second coil and flatten down half of it. So now after I have the top part flattened, I can then pinch the bottom, and that makes the body of my bee as well as the stinger. All right, now what I'll go ahead and do is I'm going to attach these two together. Remember that in here in the art room, we would use slip and score again to attach our two clay pieces together. So I would attach my body to my wings. After I have that, I can grab maybe a toothpick. You might have a toothpick at home too, that you can go ahead and maybe draw some eyes, some horizontal lines for the body, the stripes of our bee. And once you have that, you can go ahead and maybe create another bee or go ahead and get ready to start placing them on. I'm going to work here again with the same process of my coils, taking two about the same size and using one to be the wings, pushing down with both my thumbs, and doing the other one where I press down half of it with my thumb and then pinch at the bottom to make the stinger. I will attach them together. I will draw on my eyes and my horizontal stripes for the body with a toothpick. And I'm going to create here first about 3, and then I'll show you how we can add them on. So again, I'm going to slip and score on mine. You might not need to slip and score depending on what clay or dough you are using at home, but you can put them in a variety of different positions. I might have one that's at the top of my beehive, maybe one's down at the bottom, maybe I have one in about the middle. I'm going to create just a couple more here too. I realized I want a few extra. Now for you, make sure you have at least 3. I would like to see 3 bees. 3 bees, okay, on your beehive. It'd be pretty lonely if there was just one, don't you think? So go ahead, create a little bit more of your hive by having at least 3. And once you have all of your bees on your beehive, go ahead, set it off and maybe let it dry for a little bit. Don't worry if you are like me and you are not working with color. We'll talk about adding color next week. If you do have color on yours, great. Again, we'll talk next week about color. All right, artists, I can't wait to see how your beehives came out, and I'll see you next time.